Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Level Up Conversations.
Yay.
Today's topic is dating for potential. Should you actually date for potential? So, before we jump into our conversation, I actually wanted to play for you a clip of a lady on TikTok who answered this question.
I look at the person as they are right this moment. Right. And, this isn't to discount what you're saying, but I don't give a damn about your vision unless it's in works.
That's the reason why I said system.
So you can tell me
because
all day, I got dreams to be in this and this and that. It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Men don't look at us and go, oh man, she has the potential to be in shape.
Exactly.
How you are today is what they want. You won't even get a second look.
They don't
look at you and go,
I'm gonna say this. And you damn near only disappointed when she starts changing from what you married her to be.
Right. So I'm gonna keep that same energy and I'm gonna operate the same way that a man operates.
I agree.
Well said.
I agree.
Very well said. And I think that when she said, keeping that same energy, you can't expect a woman to have, I think there's just like, in general, men expect women to have this level of grace of putting up with their stuff because we're perceived as being, nurturing. It's supposed to be more understanding and more forgiving and more this, that, and the other. But dating for potential, I mean, it's cute when you're both in college or in high school and you're still trying to figure yourself out and trying to figure out what you're going to do with your life. And, you have all these ideas in your head that you want to go ahead and pursue. That's great. But once you start hitting that milestone of like 25 plus, you better have it together or at least be pursuing getting it together. Because that's not cute at, 35, 45. That's not cute.
Yes, I agree because that's the same thing I say. Like, I want to be with a non-smoker. I don't want to be with someone who is quitting because you're not going to quit. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to know what you plan on doing. I want to know what you're doing now.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't want to hear any dreams about you're going to be a millionaire 5 years from now when we need the money today.
Right. Because like the rent ain't gonna get paid with potential. The bills ain't gonna get paid with potential.
No.
Okay? So I 100% agree. I do not and will not date for potential, and I do not expect anybody to date me for potential. If what I bring to the table today, here and now is not what you like, I'm gonna need you to go on to the next girl. Because on the flip side of that, there's nothing worse than somebody who comes to you and then tries to change you. Because a lot of times when people date for potential, they project those things onto you as a person. And you might be just going on your married life thinking like, I'm fine the way I am. I'm exactly where I want to be, doing exactly what I want to do. But then a man comes along or a woman and says they picked you. Like, okay, for example, women talk about how like, he asked me out and then he's like, oh, if only you could lose a little bit of weight, or if only you could gain a little bit of weight. Now you're projecting your damn issues and insecurities and whatever else nonsense it is you want from me. Why didn't you just date me for who I was instead of people? And if you wanted someone who was skinnier or bigger or whatever, why didn't you just go find that person?
Right.
This ain't fair. Why are you trying to make me into something that I'm not? You know what I mean? And that's what happens when people date for potential. Both men and women do that. For example, women will date a man for potential and then turn around and complain like he doesn't have his shit together. He doesn't pay the bills. He doesn't do this, that, and the next. Well, girl, you met him like that. You're dating for potential. And then you're basically pushing your ideologies and requirements on this person. You had a choice. You had a choice. You knew he didn't make that kind of money. You knew he didn't do those things, but you said yes. You chose to stay. So why are you bitching about it now?
And I noticed too that men, when they say they want to get themselves together or they have something to do, they take time to do it. They get themselves together. And that's the thing I tell women too. It's like, you know, like in the manosphere when oh, men don't care if you're going to school. Okay, me going to school and me earning a degree has nothing to do with you anyway.
It was never.
So okay, so it doesn't matter to you. What's the problem? I'm
Why
going.
you bring it up?
Right.
Right. Why is it an issue?
Right.
You
Like,
know.
why are you even having that conversation? Because I was going before you came along. You're
Right.
not the why I'm doing it. And
Mhm.
another reason why I do not believe in dating for potential is because, you know, people will say, "Oh, but you know what? You guys pass on the guy who's hustling, and then when he's made it, now you want to come in." But the thing is, at that time, you weren't dating for potential. You were dating him for what he was, and at that time, he wasn't what you wanted. But if he makes it, now he's what you wanted. What's the problem?
Right.
Like,
And I wonder who made up that term, dating for. I've never heard of that, dating for potential. If I'm dating you for what's going on right now.
yeah, but see,
Mhm.
I don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now. That's called us planning together.
mhm.
Mhm.
But that's not like, you know,
Honestly, I think men made up the dating for potential because they always try to like gaslight women into holding them down. Men specialize in trying to convince women to hold them down. So, you know, this struggle love, this like ride or die, whatever, you know, I don't have it together right now, but you should see the potential in me because I'm working towards it. But you know what? I 100% agree with Vanessa. You know, you're not in college, like starting out in life. Like, even I, at that time, obviously, I think at that point, we're all dating for potential because most of us are you go into school, you haven't even had your first job yet. We're all dating for potential, and it's allowed at that point in your life. But you know, like you said, like you can't be like over 25 going on 30 going on 40 going on
yeah.
50 still telling somebody to stick by you while you know, try to figure it out, because guess what, it's a 50-50 chance you make it or you don't. Why should I take the chance?
You know, that's like saying, "Oh, I'm 35. I want to be a rapper."
Okay. And I mean, people are going to be like, well, what's his name? Made it at 50. Yeah, whatever. The point is,
He
like,
didn't make it at 50.
you know what I mean? The
He
bottom,
didn't make it at all.
it's a risk. And anything that is a risk is something that I stay away from. Like, I'm
Mhm.
risk first. I'm not taking a risk. And I don't care how many times you tell me that it's possible they might make it. There's also the fact that it's possible they might not. And by the way, here's another thing. Here's another way to look at it. For every person that you want to date for potential, there is a person who's already at the potential that you're looking for. So
Mhm.
why would I date you for potential when I can just go be with somebody who's already what it is I'm looking for?
You know, this is what I don't understand. We have been on lockdown for what, 2 years? About there should be no wars, the battle of the sexes. We should all be better people. I'm as old as dirt, and I have braces because you know I said it's about time for me to like do some self-improvement things. You know, how come, like, is it just me? Like, was I locked inside and figured that I would work on myself?
Hmm.
I mean, I think it does go back to what we said before about people not wanting to take accountability. It's a lot easier to point outside than to look at. It's a lot harder to do the work on yourself. It's easier to look out and expect everybody else. It's always someone else's fault. It's like you're the victim. You know, the system should like bend to you and it should allow for you, and everybody should give you grace because of ABCD. But truly, I understand life happens. There's no reason why for both men and women. There's no reason why. I mean, I guess, but like with exceptions, I guess I'm trying to be nice about it. But you know, by the time you get to your 30s and your 40s, you should hopefully try to have had your shit together. You know what I mean? And like you have like, you know, something, a career, something substantial. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so I mean,
But you know, some people don't. I mean, I have met people who said they didn't want to work. They wanted, women, they wanted to live on welfare. They didn't like working. And you
and
know what? That's okay.
that's okay. You have a
Don't
right.
complain when you don't have, and don't ask me when
Exactly.
you don't have.
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't ask me either.
Because actions have consequences. Everybody has free will to do whatever it is you want. But understand your decisions will always have consequences. There's no way you can, it's fine. I mean, some people are like, well, why should I go to school? I can just like work on my body and bag me a rich man and blah blah blah. God bless you. Good luck, sister. But understand, you just made a decision that's going to affect your life in some way, shape, or form. Now, don't turn around and expect the whole world to bend over backwards in order to accommodate you with your decision. That's
Oh, you made a good point there. There was this creator, right? And he had stated that sometimes women, when they, when they make their YouTube videos, they tend to be sexy, show cleavage, because more men would, would click and view them, and they're not really listening to the messages. And that just goes back to what these IG models or whatever. Again, what you see on IG is not for real. A creator just recently showed some pictures about the Kardashian clan, how they really look as compared to what the filters do. And you see all kinds of flaws in their skin. And that goes back to, why do you think that you have to be a video vixen? You have to be an Instagram model. I don't understand. Just be yourself. And if he won't accept you, the other he will.
You know what I think? I mean, I think that society is why. Because in the this day and age that we're living in, you just talked about the Kardashians, and look at them, billionaires, right? So there's motivation from society to do those kinds of things. You know, women are like, even the BBL industry, right? There's like all kinds of things that are happening, and to me, it's like, I'm it's not right maybe, but at the same time, like, you see where they're getting rewarded for these things. So
I'm not willing to sell myself like that. I mean,
that agree with you, but reality is that these people are making the money, they are getting the lifestyle. So as long as they keep getting fed what it is that they want, of course that's why a lot of young people don't even want to go to school anymore.
But I think that's like a facade. That's like saying, only a small percentage of men will be rappers or women will be rappers. Only a small percentage would be singers. Only a small percentage would be, athletes. So it's okay to be an average person and just be the best average person you can be. And average people still make money.
Right. Yeah, but I think the problem is, we're dealing with like young minds, and all they have to go off of is what is being shoved down their throat every single day, on TV, in social media, in the world that we live in right now. This is these young people's reality. We're blessed enough that we grew up at a time maybe when this was not at its height, that we were able to have some sort of normalcy and have like that thought process and critical thinking to understand like the value that comes from being authentic and working hard, and really just like, getting an education and doing all that. Like, I know, obviously, both of you personally, and that's how we grew up. So even though now we're in a place where all this stuff, we understand, we see it because we've been in a place where it wasn't there, and we see how it's toxic and how it's affecting society. But if you look at kids that are just born into this, you don't know what you don't know. All they came to a world where the Kardashians are at the top of their game. They're jet setting everywhere, doing ABCD, living their best lives. Why would they not want that?
And the crazy thing is, like Lorraine said, it really is all a facade, because for every IG model, how many of them are really jet setting and making all this money and getting the clicks and getting the likes and having their pages monetized. And then young people see this and think, oh, well, I don't have to go to school. I don't have to get a formal education, because they may actually just be hearing. And actually, I wouldn't even say they're hearing reports. I think it's, slightly older people, like maybe 30 or something, that are hearing reports about going to school and not getting a job that matches what you went to school for. But the younger set, they're just looking at social media. They're looking at TV. They're looking at what their friend's friend might be doing. and actually making some money off of it and thinking, well, that's what I'm going to go and do.
Yeah, this is just the
Let me
reality.
tell
It's
you.
very toxic, and I think that we've lost this generation. And you know what? I'm gonna go a step further and say, while this is happening, especially here in the U.S., what are the kids in the other countries doing?
Hustling.
They're hustling. They're learning. Do you know what I'm trying to
We
say?
don't play that mess. We're
Like,
hustling.
exactly. They're not like. I think if you were to compare like the American child versus like kids in other, I've seen videos where they like the stuff that these kids are learning. They're learning like all the good behavior, morals, like education is fundamental, all that stuff, you know. And then you look at the kid. So what does that say for our future generations here?
Look,
Mind you, who are the people who are going to be leading this country at that time?
look, my philosophy is this. I had some crooked teeth in my mouth, and that never has stopped me from getting any dates. So, not a one. I've been a single mom, and that has not stopped me from getting any dates. You know, finding the good man, that's what's been stopping me from getting dates, but not the other stuff. So, because I
Yeah.
guess the men saw that I had potential.
I guess.
I don't know.
And if we
I,
want
you
to
know,
talk about dating for potential, I guess in this point we can, with the three of us can agree we don't believe in dating for potential, huh? That
dating today is garbage.
it really is like
Yes.
large scale. Yeah.
It's dangerous
You
out
know,
there. Because
and
I hear
we
this
didn't
complaint from
reduce.
guys too, guy friends that are just like, it's so hard to
Yes.
find a decent girl
Yes.
who, doesn't seem like she's after my money, who doesn't seem like, she's expecting all this great stuff from me, and I'm just not there yet. And so
Well,
it's like, well, okay, if you're, I don't know, then I'm kind of like, well, you have to adjust as a man, you have to kind of adjust your expectations and probably, like you're saying, do the work and really think about, well, what kind of woman are you looking for? What kind of woman are you attracting? If you're a 30-plus-year-old man and you're still chasing 18-year-olds, that's what you get, man. That's what you get.
right, and exactly, just like what you said, what you're attracting, what you're expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So don't talk about how fast you can get me in bed, because if you do that, I'm going to flip the script, and I want to talk about your bank account.
Right. And you know what? Another thing is the idea of like dating on your level, right? Because we can sit here and argue about. I always go back to the girl that says, I literally don't have an education. All I have to bring is like my beauty and whatever. And I want a man who's rich, right? We can all argue for or against that. But the bottom line remains, why do you as a man get to like argue with her and try to talk her down to what she wants from a man? Wouldn't your time be better spent dating on your level, or as they say, dating within your budget? Go ahead and date within your budget. Why are you trying to like convince women to come down to your budget? If you can't afford her, leave her alone. Stop trying to date, because that's the problem. These men sometimes they want to go for the bad girl. And when I say bad, I mean like, she's it. She's got herself together. She dresses well. She wants to drive the nice cars. She wants the nice house and all that other stuff. So that's the one you want. But yet you want to tell her that her standards are too high.
Right.
Well, yes, I have been told that my standards are too high. And I'm like,
could have just gone and found a girl who was within your budget.
If my standards are too high, then you need to come up a bit. You need to heighten your standards.
Exactly. Stop.
Right.
Why do you want me to lower mine?
Exactly. Why should she lower her standards to accommodate you?
And what am I asking for? What am I, like, okay, let's be real. Okay, two people cannot live off of $50,000. It just won't happen. Because we're not talking about $50,000. Is that before taxes or after? It's like, let's be real, okay?
The thing is, it's not about what you're asking for, because no man will ever admit like, oh, well, I just don't have it. It's easier for them to say your standards are too high than to just, I don't have it.
Mhm.
That's the point.
Right.
You could be asking for 50,000, but the thing is, for somebody who makes $20,000 a year, there's nothing wrong with $20,000 a year. So nobody better start coming for me. I'm just saying, if somebody's asking for 50 and you're at 20, you're gonna say their standards are too high. But
Right.
are they really too high, or is it just you can't get on that level?
But you see, I've never had that problem either, because I don't know, in my relationships, I've never had to talk about money. Like the young women today, like, how can you say to a man, you need to make six figures? Like, that doesn't even, like, I don't know. I can't fix my lips to say that. But I will be investigative and ask what their profession is, and ask, like, just ask questions. Oh, how long you been in that profession? Is it lucrative? Because I asked the guy that lately, is that lucrative?
Mm-hmm.
And then he gave me the number. So I was like, okay.
I mean, honestly, I come from a place of like live and let live. So I don't really care if a woman says, or even if a man is like, I don't care. Whoever's whatever. If someone says, how much do you make a year? Personally, I don't see anything wrong with that. Some people just like to cut the bullshit, and some people are
Yeah.
just direct. And it's a very legitimate question. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
It's an important question.
It's a very legitimate question. You know what I'm saying? Because people need to, and I think maybe sometimes people need to take like their feelings and emotions out of certain things and like not take things so personal. You know, I would imagine the person who would take that personal is a person who does not make the kind of money they think the person wants. Because if you do, you're not going to find the question insulting or too soon or whatever. Like, wouldn't you rather know by the first or second date if this person's going to sign up or not? I mean, why do you want to
You
waste?
know, that's a good point, and I'm smiling because when I had $500,000 in school loans, right?
Mhm.
I no longer have that. It's zero. It's been paid. Thanks to the military. Join the military. Um, yeah, if a guy was to ask me, "Oh, how are you doing on your on your student loans?" I would like, "Why? You want to pay my student? Why are you asking me about my
You
student loan? Like,
demand
you
them.
want to pay my student
Ask
loan?
them.
Why is that an issue? We're not married. Why is that an
You,
issue?"
you know what an issue if you're hiding something.
Yes,
Yep,
that's why you have to learn how to ask the right questions.
absolutely.
I agree with that because if you're not asking the right questions, you're not going to get, the answer that you're seeking. And in my culture, we have this funny saying. I don't know how to say it in Yoruba, but it's basically ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer.
Mhm.
I like
I was
that.
So
like,
it's like that's what's going to happen.
I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Got,
And I
got,
think
got,
it's when I'm thinking about this dating for potential thing, it really, from my experience, it's been like, again, something that's been put on the women to be understanding of the man's
correct.
lack of.
Yes.
And, it's kind of like, well, I'm a good guy. I've got this going on. I've got that going on. Can't you just put up with? And it's like, wait a minute, you said put up with.
There's a guy who has it right now.
but
Why would I
we
put
need to say thank you to society, because it is true that women make less money than men, even in the same profession.
Yes.
So, okay. So, like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, hi, my bad. Came home. um, yeah. So that's another thing to blame society. Hey, women, we're just not making the same money. We're not taken seriously in the boardroom, and if we are, what do we call?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
And according to the manosphere, we're being masculine
Right.
if we're a woman taking care of our business.
my thing
Mm-hmm.
is this: we're just out here living
Yes.
because this is what everybody does. We live, we work, we pay the rent, we pay the bills, we pay the mortgages. We're just living. But we're masculine just for doing things in order for us to live. What are we supposed to do? Sit
Mhm.
there helplessly until a man comes along and like does all those things for us? Like, because there's a girl who's gonna be like, well, I want a man to take care of everything. Now she's a gold digger, so she's a gold digger, but very masculine. So which way is the best way to be? There's no right.
Right.
Like you're not gonna be right regardless. If you work hard and pay your own and take care of your business, you're masculine. If you are damsel in distress, you're feminine and you're want a man to take care of you, you're a gold digger.
Right.
And that's enough. And I would really like for a man to answer, how should a woman approach you if she wants to find out how much money you have? Like,
Ooh, that's a great one.
what do you say?
Yes.
I'm not even.
I would love to hear that, because I think this whole, like, I'm sure you've heard stories about men having the potential to become something greater and they're working towards it, and the wife or the woman in their life is supporting them. And then once they arrive, they dump that woman and go for somebody else.
Exactly.
But I
Exactly.
But
wanna
she
know about
sacrificed
this
all
goal.
that time dating for your potential, and then as soon as you hit to where you're going to go, you dump her.
I have an answer. I think I figured out why that happens. Because you are what he can afford at that point in his life. He would probably rather date that other woman, but he's not on that level, right? And he's not dating for potential. She wants a man who has it together. So he settles for you because you're able to like accommodate him while he's building himself. Now he's built himself to this level now. And so he's no longer looking at her as dating for potential. He's now the man that she wanted. So now he's going to go after her.
Wow.
So basically, you're a placeholder. And this is women. You become a placeholder, and you're there for him emotionally, taking, like women say, yeah, I was there when he was going through school. I cooked, I cleaned, I took care of whatever, I did this, I did that. And as soon as he got on that level, boom, he was gone. Yeah.
See, I couldn't do that. I couldn't.
That's why you don't date for potential. Because if that woman had not dated him for potential and just gone and dated, you see what I'm saying? Like you gotta think about these things, because people are gonna make you boo-boo the fool.
See, and this is where people become nasty with each other. And I mean, even though no one gets married to get divorced, you do have to think about what will happen to me if.
Yes.
Thank you.
He's not able to. What will happen to me if he just drops dead one day?
Right. Very right. Yeah.
Do you have your affairs in order? Are you sure you're on that life insurance?
And you know what? Think about it. Like the clip that you played in the beginning. She said men don't date for potential. They don't. I'm telling you, if a man is pursuing you, he's pursuing you for a reason. The math makes sense in his head. There's a reason why that man wants you. It's not because of potential. And the minute that you are not what he wants, you're not fulfilling the role that it is that he wants you to play in his life, that man is gone. He's without a backward glance, and that's it. And that's why they're so good at, like, they will pursue you when they want you and leave like you never existed when they're done with you. So that's the problem, is that they're not dating. Mind you, that is so true, because the guy in response to her said, and the man will get upset if you change who you are the way when he met you. Why does he get upset?
But people will change.
But here's the thing though. The man gets upset because who you were when he met you is what he signed up for. He knew what he wanted. So that's exactly what he wanted when he met you. Now, if you, like, for example, like, let's say, a man likes like a skinny woman, right? Or a man likes like a bigger woman. That's what he signed up for. So if you go and like suddenly lose weight, or if you go and suddenly gain weight or whatever, this is why for men, these are reasons why they leave, because that's not what he signed up for. That's not what he wanted. But on the flip side of that, a woman will stick around because she stayed with you for potential. So she's willing to accommodate whatever.
As if men don't gain weight. And and we really need to have a discussion about this, about people changing. When you get older, your metabolism changes and you will gain weight. If you had children, if you're a black woman, period, you'll start to spread. So, hit hips and butt, hips and butt. You start to spread as you become older. So and people will just change. You grow. As long as you are alive, you should be growing and learning, growing and learning.
Hmm.
You know, I'm not going to think the same way I thought 5 years ago because now I have more information than I had 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I spoke to someone and I'm like, that made sense. I think I'm gonna go in that direction.
I think as
Right.
long as you're changing for the better, a lot of times people don't complain. But I
Mm-hmm.
think what happens is just the fact that the idea of dating for potential, like again, it goes back to the Bonnie and Clyde, ride or die, blah blah
No,
blah, stick by me, stand by me,
no.
show me you're good, whatever. Like, there's never any reality that I'll
No,
ever tell a man to stick around. Like, listen, like I said, if what you see is not what you want, keep it pushing. No hard feelings. Nobody's
because
losing.
men don't do it.
They
Uh,
don't.
if you cheat on your man, he's gone. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then how? Oh, women, we.
And you see these relationships where you have a man with many wives.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the other way around that you see a wife and many men?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
It
trying to
exists
share.
in this
The men
world.
are very territorial. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's far between. Even though they say they're not, they are.
And then again, then they turn around and say, well, but no, it's different because women are more emotional and for us it's just physical. It's always the men creating these definitions and these reasons and rules in order to continue to like manipulate the situation, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, women are more emotional, but for us it's just physical. But what if I said for me cheating physically is worse than emotionally? Then how are you going to argue about that? They always create these things where they try to like convince us that no,
Yes.
it's okay for them,
Hmm.
listen, at the end of the
Oh, women cheat for
day,
emotion and men cheat for sex. Well,
regardless,
wait a minute. If women are having sex,
cheating,
why?
cheating,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
physical, emotional, whatever, who decided which one was better than the other?
Exactly.
Why did we decide that the physical one is better than the emotional one? They're both cheating,
They're both
Mm-hmm.
cheating.
you know?
It's true.
Yeah, but
Because
men,
that's typically because I think men don't want to admit to it, but there's plenty of them that's either how it starts or what it develops into after they've gotten physical.
Mhm.
Because what special reason is there to stay with a woman just because, she's a woman of the hour?
Men get lonely, they get depressed, they get sad, and
Hmm.
they don't like to be alone.
Right. Woo, girl, say that again for the fools in the back. These men don't like to be alone.
Because let me tell you, my little friend in LA, his girlfriend, roommate, she's gone. So I get a call today. Oh, well, you working from home, right? Yeah. Oh, you need is a computer. Yeah. What's up? What's going on? Oh, just to make sure that when you come over, you can stay over and that you're still able to work. Oh my God, all right.
So he's already planning out that you're gonna
Yeah.
stay over, right?
I'm
Wow.
like, dang. She just left on Saturday.
It's her body. Like that's
Well,
just
yeah.
it's is what it is. And at the end of the day, you see, if he wanted to, he will. These men ain't fools out in these streets. They know exactly what they should and should not be doing. And if he's not doing it, it's because he doesn't want to. I don't care if somebody tries to tell me he doesn't know any better. He didn't grow up with a
Mm-mm.
father in the household, so he didn't know, and blah, blah, blah. Certain things are instincts. If a man wants you, he's going to pursue you. And there's certain,
Mhm.
it's just certain, if he's not doing it, quit making excuses. He doesn't want to. And
Yeah.
that
And
goes
you're going to be tempted. I mean, there's always going to be someone that looks better than your spouse, than your partner. There's always going to be someone that makes you laugh more than, well, then again, now that I think about it, you shouldn't be laughing with that person. If they make you laugh more, yeah, that's the person to stay away. But
Okay.
still, stay focused in who you're with. I mean, that if you want to cheat, why have a partner?
right,
Just
right,
say, I want to date other people. It's easy.
right. There's no
And
honor.
give me the chance
There,
to
there will never be honor in cheating.
decide. Yeah, let me decide if I want to be the side piece. Let me decide that. It may be your lucky day,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but it won't.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what, honestly, there's something to be said for, beyond like dating for potential, there is something to be said for um like a partnership, like a true authentic partnership, where you've come together and they're where they're supposed to be, you're where you're supposed to be, and you like where they are. Just because you like where they are doesn't mean there's no room for growth, but it's a start where you're like, I can work with this. And if you can
Mhm.
find somebody that you're like, I can work with this, and then both of you continue to learn and grow together, there's something to be said for really like fighting for your relationship and just kind of like you know just working hard together and growing. Because the grass, we talk about the grass is not greener. It's like, if it is, somebody else is watering that grass, and maybe if you watered yours, it would be just,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So I mean,
Mhm.
definitely on the flip side of that, I know we've bashed the whole dating for potential thing, but if you find the right person and you like where they're at and it's a start, there's something to be said for like, because good people, both men and women, they're not easy to come by. And when you find a good partner, it's important to build and stick with
Yeah,
it.
and that's what I believe in dating. Have fun, especially when you're in your early 20s. Have fun, date around, do everything. But then when you find that one person, then you can, for the lack of a better word, you can settle down.
Yeah.
But then have fun.
Yeah.
That's what you should be doing when you're young,
Mhm.
having fun. You
Yeah.
know.
And you know
So
what? I thought about something else. When we talked about like dating for potential, that's another thing is when how men and women date. Even when you take the potential part out of it, men, the whole idea of like dating is because you're getting to know people, you're getting to know different people. And sometimes I do think we women, like, we want love so much, we want a relationship so bad that you find yourself in this one relationship for I don't know how many years, and then you get out of it, and then you get into another one for however long, and the time keeps moving and you keep getting older. Like, understand the concept of dating and stop putting labels on things if you haven't had conversations and discussed things and really agree that this is where you're at. Men date multiple people, you date multiple people. There's nothing wrong with that when you're in the dating stage. That's how you figure out like what you want, what you don't want, what you put up with, and what, all those things. And then of course, like, if you get to a point where it's like, all right, I like this person, we've had the talk and now we're exclusive, then that's different. But I guess I'm saying, like, right in the beginning, especially for younger women, stop being exclusive with men who are dating multiple women, because
hmm
Mm.
you haven't had this. Just date, like, going off of what Lorraine is saying, just have fun, just date, I mean,
and if
responsibly.
you want to be a hoe, be a hoe. Like,
just
what's your
just just
problem? Just stay
just, just
protected. So,
I don't know about that, but like, I will
I mean,
say,
you have no children. You
yeah,
have no one to be responsible for.
yeah,
As long as you're being open and honest with everyone, staying protected, going to the doctor, being clean,
just have
do
fun.
you. Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Right. And understand, like, you have the power as a woman. Stop looking to the man to give you like a sense of direction all the time. It's like,
Mm.
you are an individual in this relationship. It's okay for you to have a dinner with David tomorrow and lunch with what's his name the next day, because you're a single woman who is learning what you want in a partner. And there's nothing wrong with that. And don't let anybody gaslight you, because it goes back to the potential where men don't date for potential, women do. Men date multiple women. Women stick with one man, and then it doesn't work, and then you go to the next one. No. You know what? Have a calendar. You have a roster. I don't care.
hmm
Date as many men as you want to until you find the one that becomes irreplaceable.
And
Mm.
I feel it's very important to get a definition of dating.
Mm-hmm.
What is your definition of dating? I think that's what's important because yeah, some people consider dating more than one person. Some people consider dating, oh, I'm dating one person. We're not serious, but I'm not seeing no one else. So we consider that's dating. So I think that's very important to make sure that the definition is understood.
Yeah.
Mm.
You talk to whoever you're with and explain what you need to explain. And then if those two things do not align, then that's different. But don't let, but okay, but here's the thing though. Women, Do not let a man tell you that they don't want a commitment, but they're only seeing you, but they don't want a commitment. Think about what
Yeah, how's
I
that one?
said.
Think about what they say.
I'm not, because that's what they do. I'm not giving you a commitment, but I'm only dating you, and you should only date me. So he's asking you for a commitment because he's asking you to just date him, but he's telling you he's not ready for a commitment.
Right.
The math.
You know, the other thing, I'll try to give you a call. How do you try to give somebody a call?
Or you
Is
don't.
Either call or
that
you
when you
don't.
get a little bit pregnant? Like either you pregnant or you're not. Either you call or you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
If you called me and you left a voicemail message, you called me.
Right.
So I'll try to call you. How do you try to call someone?
You don't try. You do it or you don't. But like
You have to listen to what they say.
listen, yes. Like my rule of thumb when it comes to men, seriously, you're single until you're in a relationship that you defined. You had the talk and decided we are in a committed relationship and we are only dating each other. I don't care if we haven't had that conversation. You can't tell me how to live my life. You can't tell me to be exclusive with only you, but we're not exclusive. That doesn't make any sense. And if you want to just, because most men will say that, I guarantee you, they're telling you that so you can only date them, but they're dating other people. If that man is dating you and not ready to make a commitment, it's because there's something that he's looking for that he hasn't found in you, which means he's probably seeing other people. But he just wants to lock you down initially before he even makes that commitment. So my thing, for the commitment, date as many people as you want to.
And this thing was friends with benefits. It's sex. What's the benefit? I don't see and I don't see any benefit in that. What is the benefit?
I think it's this. I think it's a security of knowing that it's somebody that you know and are kind of on friendly terms with, and so you don't have that. It's kind of like having the no strings attached with somebody rather than a stranger.
I have an arrangement with no strings attached, or
right.
I have an F buddy. But friends with benefit, there's no benefit.
But then yet again, times like a guy will be dating a girl and they're just friends with benefits, but then they're like, but you're the only one, but I'm the only one, and like you can't see other. Sir, if there's no commitment, boys and girls, there's no commitment, which means you can date as many people as you want to, and the other person can date as many people. The minute you say, well, but I don't really want to see other people, but at least you know you have the choice. Don't come argue that you know, but it's okay. I like to date one person at a time. Good for you. But understand you cannot hold the other person to the same standard because there's no commitment. Do whatever the hell it is you want to do, but understand it's an option and the other person can choose to see other people. You know, that's it. Now, the minute you have the talk and you're in a committed relationship, all bets are off. Now you're just seeing each other. Anything beyond that where you see other people, now that we can consider cheating. But before that, have fun.
And women, hold these men accountable.
Yes.
If they want you to have sex, that's very intimate. Why are you just accepting a text message? Doesn't that shouldn't you call me and ask me that? Why would you? You know, it's just texting. It's just too much. People don't talk to each other anymore, and I think a lot of men prevent from speaking with women, and that's why they text. And men and women, we text differently because women, and I understand why, because women, we tend to text a whole book, and men will text okay. And I would like, oh, what does that mean? Okay, what?
I don't even like to text, so I can't really.
I don't text because I'm like this. I'm dating myself, but you know, black don't crack. But I was dating in a time when cell phones didn't even exist. So how did I date? How did I have sex? We spoke on the telephone. I'm not texting. I'm not doing texting is for pick up some milk. I'm running late.
I'm almost there. I'm 5 minutes away.
Yeah, that's not. If you accept that if you accept texting as a mode of communication, that's the way it's always going to be.
But
Yes.
I've heard women, even women, especially younger, this younger generation, they're just like, if you can text, oh, before you call me, think, stop and think, is this something you can text or something like that? So they pride themselves on being texters, and that's how they want to communicate. But I know exactly what you're saying, and I 100% agree with it, because it takes away that personalized, way of really talking and getting to know each other and hearing the nuances in the conversations, and
Yes.
stuff like that, because things get lost in translation.
Hmm.
But so again, it's like choices, consequences. I think they
Yeah.
don't understand that okay, that's fine, you can do that, but there's a lot of stuff that people don't know how to interact anymore. People
Mhm.
people hide behind their screens and behind their
Yes.
cell phones, and they just all want to text. But the one thing you got to remember is this relationship and marriage going to be virtual? Because if you plan on having a virtual relationship and marriage, you're on the right track. But if you at some point want to make sure that you date and get out there and interact and get into a household and deal with each other, how's that going to work when you build a foundation of texting? What happens when you're living in a home together and now you have to see each other every day and face to face have conversations?
Hmm.
I mean, unless you work for the social media companies, you shouldn't have it when you're in a relationship. I mean, what do you? I mean, other than maybe scrolling through TikTok, but you shouldn't be on your phone more than you talking to the person that's in your home. You're already gone, what, 8, 9, 10 hours out of the house anyway. You don't see each other. So when you come together, you shouldn't be on your phone.
You know, again, I feel like this is where we show our age, because this conversation is probably going to be lost on the younger generation, because to them it's like, what do you mean I got out of my phone? I mean, these other people
And
that have
that's why so many relationships are failing because of the social media. No
yeah,
one's talking. They're
yeah,
cheating. I see TikToks all the time. The guy's on his phone and the girl is like looking over, and he don't realize that he's in front of a mirror
yeah,
and she can see the reflection.
yep. I
Wow.
mean, the we're having this conversation, they're having an argument about why don't you post me on your socials. She's
Hmm.
fighting him on why she doesn't get posted on his socials, because that's how she will feel like he loves her. Whereas like somebody else is saying, why do you even have this social
Yeah.
whatever? And
Why
then
even
he's
have it?
also fighting him on why do you follow these girls? And
Mhm.
somebody else is like, why do you even have this social? So I mean, I feel like that I don't know.
And
But
again, when you're in relationships, things are supposed to change because you're not for yourself anymore. You will
Exactly.
be doing things for the sake of another person. You will be doing things for the sake of the relationship. And yes, you are answering to another person. Yes, you do.
mm-hmm.
Because people do care about you. If you're coming home later than usual, the first thing I'm gonna think is you're in an accident.
Mm-hmm.
When in fact you're off cheating.
Yeah.
Like, what a thing to do to me. Like, call me up and say, oh, I'm cheating today. I won't be home. Okay. And when you get back, I won't be home.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, I guess the bottom line is we can agree dating for potential is, at the end of the day, you make choices just to understand the consequences. But you might want to consider thinking about that dating for potential, because that potential might never come to fruition.
Hmm.
Understand that while you date for potential. But if you still want to ride or die with whoever, and I guarantee you there's going to be people in the comments that are going to say, well, I stood by my man when he did ABCD, and in return he turned around and he made me a housewife and he did this and that, and then the next. Again, we're saying it's a 50-50 chance here. So if you're going to date for potential, good luck, but understand it's a risk.
if you go to jail, you kiss me. That'll be a last kiss because I'm gone. I'm not waiting for you. I'm not. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I'm not. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
uh,
Mm-mm.
um, I
You
guess.
a long haul truck driver. Bye. Because why you doing? No, no, we're not doing all that. Mm-mm. We're not having no internet relationships. We're not having no long distance relationships. Those things, they just don't work when you're older. When you're young and you're like in love and everything,
But do
and
they
that will hold your attention for a little while. But
Hmm.
then enough is enough, you know.
right? So
But
guess that's it for me.
that's it. Don't
All
ask me
right.
about sex, and I won't ask you about your wallet. Simple. Simple rule. Mm.
Well,
So
that concludes another episode of Level Up Conversations. Be sure to follow us on YouTube and TikTok. Give us comments below. Follow us, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we shall see you soon. Bye
Yay!
bye.
all right. See
Have
ya.
fun.